The supermarket buzzed with life, a symphony of chatter, beeping scanners, and the occasional squeak of a cartwheel. A familiar hum on a Tuesday afternoon, a routine that felt both mundane and comforting.
She grabbed a cart, one with a wonky wheel, of course. It wobbled and squeaked, a minor annoyance she had come to expect. It always seemed to happen, as if the universe had a sense of humor.
The list was long, scribbled on a napkin in a hurried scrawl. It was a mix of essentials and a few indulgences. Milk, eggs, bread, the usual suspects. First stop, produce. The vibrant colors of fruits and vegetables greeted her. Tomatoes were plump and red, almost too perfect to be real.
She picked a few, testing for firmness, feeling the smooth skin under her fingers.
A lady nearby squeezed melons with expertise, her practiced hands knowing exactly what to look for. A little nod passed between them, a shared understanding of grocery rituals, a silent acknowledgement of their common quest for quality. Aisles flowed by in a blur of colors and brands, each one a potential choice, a decision to be made. She snagged the last box of her favorite cereal, a small victory in the grand scheme of her shopping trip. At the dairy, a child wailed for yogurt, his cries echoing through the aisles.
She smiled, remembering those days when her own children were young and every trip to the store was an adventure.
Finally, checkout. The end of the journey, yet another line to wait in. The cashier, a young man, scanned her items with bored precision, his mind clearly elsewhere.
Paper or plastic? He mumbled, barely looking up.
Paper, please, she replied, preferring the sturdiness and environmental friendliness.
He forgot to bag the bread, a small oversight in the grand scheme of things. She sighed, a universal shopper's sigh, a mix of frustration and resignation. But as she left, the setting sun cast a warm glow over the parking lot, painting everything in a golden hue. Evenings, she thought, were worth the trip. The quiet, the calm, the sense of accomplishment after a day well spent.
"Morning, Jim," she said, pouring a cup of coffee. The aroma filled the room, a small comfort in the bustling office.
Jim grumbled a greeting, eyes glued to his phone. Typical. He was always so engrossed in his screen, catching up on emails or scrolling through news.
"Big plans for the day?" she asked, leaning against the counter. Her casual tone masked the underlying curiosity about his day.
Jim shrugged. Same old, he mumbled. Meeting at 10, then that endless report, he added, finally looking up. His eyes showed a hint of weariness.
She laughed. "Tell me about it. Those reports are a special kind of torture." They shared a moment of solidarity, a brief escape from their daily grind. Two comrades facing the corporate trenches, finding solace in shared complaints.
"You catch the game last night?" Jim asked, a glint in his eye. It was a rare moment of enthusiasm.
And just like that, the conversation shifted. Work woes faded as they dissected the previous night's victory, their voices animated and lively, their voices rising in excitement. The coffee machine beeped, signaling a fresh pot. The smell of freshly brewed coffee added to the energy of their conversation.
"Another cup?" she offered, holding the pot up with a smile.
Jim nodded. Sure, why not? It's going to be a long day. He appreciated the small gesture, a moment of camaraderie.
And with that, they were back to their routine, the brief respite over. The office buzzed with activity, each person lost in their tasks. Their shared experience forged in coffee breaks and office banter. These small moments of connection made the daily grind a bit more bearable. The engine coughed, sputtered, then died. It was the third time this month, and each time felt like a punch to the gut. He swore under his breath. Not again. This was becoming a frustratingly familiar routine. He was officially late, stranded on the side of the road. The minutes ticked by, each one a reminder of his growing tardiness. Sweat beaded on his forehead, despite the cool morning air. The stress of the situation was getting to him.
He popped the hood and stared at the jumbled mess of wires and hoses. It was a chaotic puzzle he had yet to solve. A helpful diagram in the manual, this was not. The manual might as well have been written in a foreign language. He poked and prodded, hoping for a miracle. Each touch was a desperate attempt to find the problem. A passing car honked, a symphony of impatience. The world moved on, indifferent to his plight. He resisted the urge to fling a wrench. Anger wouldn't solve anything, he reminded himself. Deep breaths, he told himself. Think. He needed to stay calm and focused.
Then a flash of memory, a distant but vivid recollection. His grandfather, tinkering under the hood of his old Ford. The smell of oil and the sound of tools clinking filled his mind. "Check the distributor cap," the old man had said. "Worth a shot." His grandfather's voice echoed in his ears.
He fiddled with the cap, blew off some dust and reconnected it. His hands moved with a newfound confidence. He turned the key. The engine roared to life. Relief and joy surged through him. A wave of triumph washed over him. He had done it. He was a mechanical genius. Or at least, he felt like one in that moment. Or at least, he could get his car started. That was enough for now.
He grinned, feeling like he could conquer the world. The small victory had given him a boost of confidence. Or at least, make it to work on time. He glanced at his watch and realized he still had a chance to salvage the day.